Shocking truth. Who was the mystery woman at the millionaire's party? In the heart of a bustling city, there stood a towering symbol of success, the headquarters of Alexander's food empire. At 55, Alexander had built a billion-dollar business from the ground up. Known for his athletic build, elegant dressing, and impeccable manners, he was the dream of many women. Yet, Alexander remained extremely reserved about his personal life. No one knew of any wives or girlfriends. He lived in a mansion on the outskirts of the city, driving his sports car to work every morning. One day, Alexander's company was preparing to celebrate its 25th anniversary with a grand party. His executive secretary, Linda, was in charge of the arrangements. She knew Alexander never brought companions to social events, so she was surprised when he asked her to reserve 2 seats at the main table. "Will you be accompanied, Mr. Alexander?" Linda asked, trying to hide her curiosity. "I'm not sure yet, Linda. My companion hasn't confirmed her presence. But reserve 2 seats just in case," Alexander replied with a slight smile. The news that the most sought-after bachelor in the company might bring a companion to the party quickly spread through the corridors. Employees were placing bets on who the mysterious woman who had won the boss's heart might be. That same afternoon, a young woman of about 20 appeared at the company's reception. She was very beautiful, with long brown hair and expressive green eyes, but her simple clothes and the backpack on her back indicated a humble origin. "Good afternoon. I would like to speak with Mr. Alexander. My name is Victoria," the young woman said to the receptionist. The receptionist looked her up and down with suspicion. "I'm sorry, miss, but Mr. Alexander does not receive visitors without a prior appointment," she replied curtly. "Please, he is expecting me. Could you at least let him know I'm here?" Victoria insisted. "Look, young lady, every day people come here claiming they have an appointment with Mr. Alexander. Obviously, he has nothing scheduled with you," the receptionist said impatiently. Victoria started to get irritated. "Listen, I don't want to cause any trouble. I just ask you to let him know I'm here, please." At that moment, Alexander appeared in the lobby. Upon seeing Victoria, he broke into a wide smile. "Victoria, my love, it's so good that you arrived," he exclaimed, embracing her warmly. "Let's go to my office." The receptionist and the other employees who witnessed the scene were astonished. Alexander walked out with his arm around the young woman, leaving everyone speculating about who she might be. In the office, Alexander and Victoria talked for almost 2 hours. When they left, Alexander seemed happier than ever. He said goodbye to Victoria with another affectionate hug. "Linda, please confirm the 2nd seat for dinner." "My companion will be coming," Alexander said to his secretary. "Oh, and let me know when an order from the jewelry store arrives." Shortly after, Linda received a discreet yet elegant box from the city's most famous jewelry store. The golden logo engraved on the black lid gleamed, indicating that this was not just any delivery. With a quick glance around to ensure no one was watching, she carefully lifted the lid, barely containing her shock at the contents. It was a diamond necklace, and not just any necklace. Each stone seemed hand-picked, perfectly cut to reflect an almost hypnotic sparkle. Linda thought to herself, feeling a mix of incredulity and perhaps a twinge of envy, "It can't be that he's going to give such an expensive piece of jewelry to that girl." She barely had time to process what she had seen when she heard the sound of Alexander's footsteps in the hallway. She quickly closed the box, but couldn't help noticing the unusual smile he wore. "Thank you, Linda. I'm leaving early today. I have a special appointment," Alexander said with a lightness in his voice that left the secretary even more intrigued. Before she could respond, Alexander was already in the corridor, leaving with the jewelry box in hand. As soon as he disappeared from view, curiosity took over the entire company. Some employees whispered that they had seen the jewelry store's box being delivered, and gossip began to spread like wildfire. "Is he going to propose to her?" murmured a marketing assistant to her colleague beside her, wide-eyed. Meanwhile, Linda couldn't forget the necklace she had seen. Whoever this girl is, she managed to do something no one else could: make Alexander leave early with a smile like that. Looking like a teenager, she thought. The next day, the company's anniversary party was the topic of the moment. Everyone was eager to see Alexander arrive with his date. When his sports car pulled up in front of the hall, the anticipation was palpable. Alexander got out of the car and, with his usual elegance, walked around to the passenger side to open the door. When the door opened, all eyes turned to the woman who emerged gracefully. Victoria appeared stunning in a long, deep red dress that seemed perfectly molded to her body, quite different from the previous day when she wore simple clothes. Around Victoria's delicate neck shone the diamond necklace Alexander had bought. Alexander and Victoria walked side by side, their arms intertwined in an intimate and protective gesture. As they proceeded along the red carpet laid out at the entrance of the hall, both smiled warmly, greeting the guests who gathered to welcome them. Whispers spread throughout the hall. Many looked at the young woman with envy and disapproval. Some older employees did not hide their discontent. "It's a disgrace. She must be half his age," commented one manager. "She's definitely only interested in his money." "Look at the necklace he gave her," said another employee. Victoria walked through the hall with a calm demeanor beside Alexander, but couldn't help noticing the furtive glances and whispers that intensified with every step. Comments hissed in muffled voices, followed by disguised giggles and critical looks that scrutinized every detail of her, from the red dress to the diamond necklace shining around her neck. At one point, she felt the need to step away to catch her breath. With a gentle touch on Alexander's arm, she indicated she was going to the bathroom. As soon as she entered the ladies' room, she found a group of women already gathered near the mirrors, fixing makeup and reapplying lipstick. Victoria quickly noticed that the conversation silenced as soon as she entered. But upon noticing her presence, one of the women, apparently the leader of the group, gave her a cold and calculating look. "We know well the type of girl you are," the woman said with a malicious smile and a look filled with disdain. The others laughed quietly, fueling the provocation. Victoria felt her stomach churn but remained firm, staring at the woman without saying anything. "How much is he paying you for tonight?" the woman continued in an acidic and theatrical tone. The comment was followed by muffled laughter, and Victoria felt the weight of the hostility those women, without even knowing her, had already decided her worth based on shallow judgments and cruel assumptions. For a brief moment, Victoria felt the urge to respond, to defend herself from those unfair accusations. But instead, she took a deep breath, maintaining her dignity, and decided it wasn't the right thing to do. When she returned to the hall, her eyes were slightly teary, and she bit her lips, trying to contain the emotions bubbling inside her. Upon reuniting with Alexander, he immediately sensed something was wrong. His experienced eyes caught the discomfort etched on her face, and without needing a word, he pulled her close, enveloping her in a warm and protective embrace. Finally, the moment came for Alexander's speech. He stepped onto the stage and began by talking about the company's journey over the past 25 years. He thanked all the employees and partners who had contributed to the business's success. "But today is not just the company's anniversary," Alexander said with his eyes shining. "It is also the 25th anniversary of the most important person in my life." A murmur spread throughout the hall. Alexander continued, "Many of you must be wondering who the young woman accompanying me tonight is. Well, I have the pleasure of introducing you to my daughter, Victoria." The revelation caused a collective shock. Alexander continued, "Victoria was born on the same day I founded this company. She spent the last few years studying and doing volunteer work in another country, and now she has returned to work by my side." Victoria then stepped onto the stage, visibly moved. She took a deep breath and, with a sincere smile, began, "It is an immense honor and joy to be here today, finally by my father's side. contributing to the company he built with so much work and dedication. She paused briefly, her gaze sweeping over the audience with empathy and determination. I have come with the purpose of adding value, bringing new ideas, and strengthening the culture we all admire so much. A culture of respect, cooperation, and above all, valuing each person who is part of this team. Deborah then directed her gaze to some people who had judged her unfairly earlier, her voice now even more confident and affectionate. I deeply believe that we all have the right to evolve, to learn from our mistakes, and to move forward, leaving behind judgments and misunderstandings. Let's embrace this new phase where each of us has the opportunity to start over. After all, everyone deserves a second chance. Her words resonated in the hall, leaving a clear and inspiring message that prompted reflection among all present. Victoria's speech was met with warm applause that echoed throughout the hall. The employees who had previously judged her hastily exchanged glances, visibly embarrassed. Their expressions revealed the weight of their regret. They realized, with growing discomfort, the grave mistake of having made assumptions based solely on appearances and rumors. The genuine sparkle in Victoria's eyes and the serenity with which she addressed the topic made them even more ashamed, stirring in them a deep sense of self-criticism. After the speech, Alexander and Victoria circulated around the room, greeting the guests gradually, one by one. Some employees approached, hesitant but determined to apologize. Many extended their hands or bowed their heads in respect, murmuring sincere words of regret and gratitude for having brought to light such a valuable lesson. Slowly, the environment once filled with murmurs and judgments transformed. The atmosphere became lighter, joyful, and marked by smiles. Linda, the secretary, was one of the first to apologize to Victoria. "I'm sorry for making assumptions about you," she said, embarrassed. "I was prejudiced and deeply regret it." Victoria smiled and hugged Linda. "It's all right. The important thing is that we learn from our mistakes and move forward." The receptionist who had treated Victoria poorly the previous day also approached, with tears in her eyes. "Miss Victoria, I have no words to express my regret. I was extremely rude to you." "Don't worry," Victoria replied gently. "Let's start over from scratch, okay?" Throughout the night, Alexander watched proudly as his daughter handled the entire situation with grace and maturity. He always knew Victoria was special, but seeing her in action filled him with admiration. The event that had begun with judgments and gossip ended as a true celebration of unity and respect. In the days that followed, Victoria's presence brought a new energy to the company. Her fresh approach and innovative ideas were well received by everyone. Alexander, in turn, seemed happier and more relaxed than ever. The story of Alexander and Victoria quickly spread throughout the company, becoming an example of how respect can overcome prejudices and misunderstandings. The company, which was already a business success, was now also recognized for its human values. It's not always easy to be the target of injustices and yet find the strength to forgive. More often than not, hurt prompts us to seek revenge, a natural response to the desire for justice. However, by choosing to forgive, we take a step that not only makes our own lives lighter, but also has a profound impact on those around us. Forgiveness, instead of perpetuating the cycle of pain, teaches and inspires, revealing a generosity that few are capable of demonstrating. It shows that it is possible to let go of resentment and create a new possibility for connection. By forgiving, we free ourselves from burdens we do not need to carry and offer a lesson more powerful than any retaliation. After all, forgiveness is a true demonstration of strength and proof that we can always choose peace instead of conflict.